So sorry for the technical issues that we are having at Apollo Hospital.
Hello, namaste, and very good afternoon. Welcome to our Facebook live session. And due to some technical issues, we were delayed for like 12 minutes. So now we'll start with our topic, that is what to do in a heart emergency. So today we have Dr. Shrikant regarding this. If you have any queries, so you can drop us in the comment box. We will address them during this session. Welcome, doctor. Welcome to our live session.
Good afternoon, viewers. I'm Dr. Shrikant, working as an interventional cardiologist at Apollo Hospital, Vizag. I hope that all of the viewers are safe and sound at home, at their respective homes. And first of all, I would like to congratulate all my fellow country people for following this lockdown very successfully. It's almost the 40th day of the lockdown. With this lockdown, the country is placed much better when compared to many other countries in the world. There was no lockdown of sort, then our country would have faced all the dire consequences of this pandemic. These consequences are very bad, which can be even in some of the very much developed countries like US and Europe. So these are big times, and so they ask for desperate measures. Desperate times require desperate measures. So one of the desperate measures that has been taken by the central government, and of course even with the state government, was lockdown. So there are not many pandemics of this magnitude in the past. There are almost 4 or 5 pandemics that has a high mortality rate. Some of which are the bubonic plague, smallpox, Spanish flu, and also the cholera. Out of these, the smallpox and also the Spanish flu are the two pandemics that have occurred due to droplet contact and also due to airborne diseases. After that, we have this pandemic. The last smallpox case was recorded in Bangladesh in about 30 to 40 years back. So none of us have actually experienced these pandemic times. It is almost new to you and also to us as a doctor community. So this pandemic, we have only two major weapons in our armamentarium. So what are those two measures? One is the social distancing. The other one is washing our hands very religiously for at least 20 seconds. This 20 second is very important. Just washing your hands with water and some soap doesn't suffice to protect you from this deadly pandemic virus. So you have to wash your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. And it should involve at least the hands, the whole of the hands. And if possible, you can also wash your face with the soap. And it should be done at least once or twice every hour to give you adequate protection. So with this context in mind, I would like to further discuss what to be done when we have a chest pain in these pandemic times.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you for elaborating this. Doctor, is it necessary to approach a hospital with a chest pain during this pandemic?
Okay, so it's a very tricky question to ask because not all chest pain merit a consultation from the doctor. But there are certain chest pains that has to be consulted by the doctor. Being a cardiologist, I'll be dealing mostly with the heart attack, the chest pain that is caused due to the heart attack. So there are 101 causes for chest pain. There are many causes for chest pain. For example, the chest includes not the heart only, but it also includes the lungs, it includes the bones, muscles, and just below the diaphragm, it also includes the gallbladder, stomach, and so on. So all these organs can cause chest pain. So out of which I'll be dealing with chest pain due to cardiac origin. If it is a cardiac origin chest pain, then it merits a consultation from the doctor and absolutely necessary to meet a doctor at a hospital. So for the question that has been asked, I would say yes, if it actually merits a consultation by the doctor.
Thank you, doctor. What kind of chest pain should be addressed immediately?
Okay. So just now in the last sentence, I have mentioned that the chest pain should merit a consultation from the doctor. So what are those merits? So let me tell you, some of the patients will be experiencing a chest pain that touches and goes, or some of the patients come to me asking that doctor, I have chest pain for a second or a two, and then it goes away. So such chest pains need not be consulted by the doctor. But if the chest pain is due to the heart, then this chest pain should be consulted by a doctor. So there are certain clues to identify whether the chest pain is really of heart origin or not. So let's just go through the clues that I'll be mentioning about the chest pain. So usually if the chest pain is from the heart, this chest pain will actually be located in the center of the chest, and it appears to be coming deep from behind the sternum, not just from the superficial part. So the sternum is nothing but the bone that is present in the mid part of the chest. So location wise, it should be centrally located. A second clue is we should always scale the intensity of the chest pain. So when we take a scale for the intensity, 1 being the least severe and 10 being the most severe, you can say the chest pain should be of at least moderate to severe intensity. So on a pain scale, it should be between 7 to 10. If the chest pain is below 1 to or below 5, then you can have a telephone consultation from the doctor. And the third clue that you might have is the quality of the chest pain. So many of the patients do come to us and say that they have a pinprick type of chest pain, which is actually not a chest pain that is arising from the heart. These pinprick types of chest pain will never be of heart origin. And some others will be saying, doctor, when I take a deep breath, I'm experiencing chest pain. Usually, these are also not due to cardiac origin. So what are the qualities of the chest pain if they actually occur from the heart? So the qualities that you would be looking for are any burning type of sensation or any gripping type of sensation, something like somebody gripping you from behind, or something like a stabbing type of sensation, or even a heaviness type of chest pain. Heaviness in the form of like a stone being tied to the chest. These are the qualities of the chest pain that you should be looking for. The fourth clue to know whether it is a cardiac origin or not is the radiation. So these chest pains will radiate either to the jaw or to the left shoulder or to the left hand or to the right shoulder and even to the stomach just above the umbilicus. If the chest pain is radiating to these particular places, then you can always think that this might be of cardiac origin. The fifth clue is that whether it is aggravated with exertion or not. So what I mean by aggravating factors are if the patient has chest pain and if he tries to walk for a few minutes or so, the patient's chest pain will actually aggravate this exertion. And this chest pain, after aggravating with exertion, will be relieved after taking rest. This is a very cardinal symptom for a cardiac chest pain. So these are the clues to say that this pain might be of cardiac origin. And along with chest pain, there are some other clues that you can look. One is the shortness of breath. The patients usually feel short of breath when they have this chest pain. So some of patients might be experiencing certain panic attacks where they also have chest pain along with shortness of breath. But mind you, during panic attacks, the shortness of breath will be very shallow. In these patients, the patients would be having a shallow breaths, not the deep breaths that you usually see in cardiac chest pain. And they might also be lightheaded, and sometimes, very rarely, the chest pain may be associated with also transient loss of consciousness. So these are the qualities of the chest pain that are of cardiac origin. But mind you, these are not the only symptoms that would be present. You have to confirm the chest pain always with the doctor. But if these are present, then it can be pretty sure that this might be of cardiac origin, and you merit a consultation from doctor.
Thank you, doctor. Doctor, can I delay visiting hospital if I have chest pain?
Okay. So provided that the chest pain is due to a cardiac origin, it's never good to delay this chest pain from consulting a doctor, because in our cardiology circuit we say one famous proverb called the time is myocardium. So what is myocardium? It's nothing but a specialized muscle that is present within the heart, just like the muscle that is present in the hand, which is called as biceps or the triceps. So similarly, we have one more muscle in the heart called the myocardium. So you all know that all the organs in the body are supplied by blood through small tube-like structures called blood vessels. So if these blood vessels get accumulated with cholesterol, the blood supply to the particular organ will decrease. So likewise, if there is any deposition of fat or cholesterol within the blood vessels supplying the heart, then you might have a heart attack. So the more delay that you do after having this pain, the more amount of myocardium get destroyed. So the more amount of myocardium that gets destroyed, the chances for your pumping capacity. What is pumping capacity? It's nothing but the amount of ejection that heart does within 1 beat. That is the pumping capacity. So the pumping capacity will come down drastically with time. So the earlier you meet a doctor, the chances for your myocardium to get damaged will be lesser. So it's always better to consult a doctor immediately if you think that this chest pain might be of cardiac origin.
Thank you, doctor. Doctor, what are the safety precautions that are taken Apollo Hospital during this pandemic situation?
Okay, so this is a pandemic, and everybody, including myself, are very much panic stricken. So whenever a patient gets chest pain, the first thought that he thinks is, okay, can I visit a hospital during these pandemic times? Because many of the patients think that hospitals are hotbeds for COVID. Okay, let me inform something at this juncture. The central government and along with the state government have designated some particular hospitals for COVID patients. For example, in Visakhapatnam, the major hospitals that had been designated as COVID hospitals are the BIMS and also the Chest and V hospital. So any patient who are COVID positive, or any person who has come in direct contact with the COVID patients will be transferred from any hospital to that particular hospital. So you might ask me, okay, what about the other patients who are not tested and who are those asymptomatic COVID carriers? Yes, there's a possibility that every hospital might have these symptomatic COVID carriers. So for that, we have initiated certain measures at Apollo to see that our working system doesn't get affected with this COVID virus. So one of the measures that we have taken for in these pandemic times are, we would be giving a questionnaire for the patient, or if the patient is uneducated, we will be asking few questions about the coronavirus. Like for example, all the corona patients will be having fever or sore throat, or might be having a travel history, or he might be having a persistent dry cough. Are some of the most important symptoms that a patient might have in coronavirus. If at all these patients are suffering with any of these symptoms, then these patients will be taken to an isolation room immediately. From the isolation room, we'll be sending some tests to the designated laboratories, and we'll not be taking out the patient from that particular isolation room until and unless the test turns out to be negative. And if it's positive, these patients will be shifted to the designated COVID hospitals. Likewise, we have some other measures, like we have kept all the hand sterilizers at every interval, and we are also maintaining social distance even at hospital. Like for example, we are keeping a distance of at least 3 to 6 feet between two patients, and the patients are also, along with the patient attendants, are advised to wear masks whenever they enter this hospital. So all are supposed to wear masks. So we are trying in our best efforts to see that this environment at our hospital remains safe and out this pandemic.
Thank you, doctor. Doctor, what are the risk factors for heart attack?
There are many risk factors for heart attack. So there are, and also there are various types of heart attack. So now today I'll be dealing only with the heart attack that is most commonly or colloquially called as ST elevation MI in the medical circle. This is the tip of the iceberg. So coming to the risk factors, there are various risk factors, but the most common and most important risk factors are smoking, hypertension, diabetes, family history of heart diseases, and prior history of heart disease, or last but not the least is the elderly age. So some of the patients that come to me ask, doctor, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't have hypertension or diabetes, but still why I'm suffering this heart attack. So the answer is their age. Any patient will age. So with age, there is a wear and tear of the particular system, and hence the patient might end up in heart attack. The other most common risk factor is the smoking. So smoking is a very strong risk factor for hypertension. The more number of cigarettes or that they smoke, the risk will be higher. And the most important of all is the diabetes medicine. To date, there are no medicines that have actually stopped the patient coronary artery disease in diabetes because the macrovascular diseases will not be reducing even after your diabetes is controlled. And all the more if the diabetes is not under control, then the chances for you to have a heart attack is very high. So as I said earlier, that elderly age is a risk factor. You might be thinking that younger individuals might not be having any heart attacks. The answer is wrong. No. In the young individuals, for example, in my experience, I have seen a patient who is just 23 years old who had a heart attack. And these patients usually are smokers. So none of the age groups, to be frank, are safe from heart attack. But the elderly age people will be at a higher risk when compared to the young individuals.
Thank you, doctor. May predict the heart attack beforehand?
Okay. So prediction of heart attack, that is one thing that everybody wants, but unfortunately there is no single test that can accurately predict whether the patient will have a heart attack or not. But there are certain of tests to know whether the patient is at risk of having a heart attack. See, the difference between at risk of having a heart attack and actually having a heart attack is that we decide only the risk whether the patient might be having the heart attack or not, but not predicting accurately whether he is having a heart attack. So at our hospital, we have a program called the Healthy Heart Program, which includes a lot of blood investigations, and along with it, some other that are very specific to the cardiologist, some like ECGs, 2D echoes, treadmill tests, and also the CT coronary angina, wherein we can identify those patients who are at risk of heart attack. So it doesn't mean that those patients who had negative tests doesn't have a heart attack, but those patients who are positive in any of these tests will be subjected to their investigations such as coronary angiogram, and depending on the results of the coronary angiogram, the patient will be undergoing stenting or maybe undergoing bypass. It depends on the results of the angiogram. So these are some good that can be done to predict heart attacks, whether they come in the future or not. And these tests can be done at regular intervals. And those patients who are diabetic are all the more requested to undergo these tests at any cost, because diabetics are the most important or the most strongest risk factor for a cardiac patient. So I advise all the patients to undergo these tests regularly.
Thank you, doctor. What are the changes should be made regularly regarding the lifestyle?
So this is a very important question, and the famous pros like prevention than cure. So if we can prevent the onset of heart disease, then it's very good, such that we do not do all the headache of having a cure for this particular disease. So coming to the prevention, there should be a lot of changes in your lifestyle. The first and most would be to have a regular exercise regimen throughout in any age group. So what I mean by exercise regimen is that usually all the patients just crawl on the roads without sweating. This is not an exercise regimen that is good for the heart. So what I would request to do for you is you have to go for a moderate to high intensity exercise. What is meant by moderate to high intensity? For example, if you walk or jog continuously at a certain pace and you sweat for at least 45 minutes a day and for 5 days a week, then it is called as moderate intensity exercise. The high intensity exercise can be done if you are able to do it. But these are the exercise regimens that are actually beneficial for you, and not the regular strolls while talking to your friends and going the beach roads. That's not an exercise regimen. And coming to one more life modification is about obesity. See, we are becoming the capital for obesity. Excuse me. We are becoming a capital for obesity. And when it comes to obesity, the central obesity is much more important when compared to the overall obesity. What do you mean by central obesity? Be seeing some people who are very thin and having a pot belly. These are the subtypes of obesity who are at highest risk of having a heart disease. The Indian guidelines have recommended that the waist circumference for women should be about 84 centimeters, while for men it is around 9 centimeters. So make sure that your waist circumference comes down with whatever exercise regimen that you are following. And apart from that, there are other factors that can be modified, like smoking. You can cut down on smoking and alcohol, and diet. Always try to go for a balanced diet. Some of the people are asking me whether to go for Atkins diet or for a high protein diet, high diet, high carbohydrate diet. No, these diets are not beneficial, because I personally believe and strongly believe that anything on any extreme is not good. Suppose if you go for a high protein diet, many of the people have complained that they had problems with kidney. And suppose if you go for the carbohydrate or fat diet, there are other problems that can occur with these diets. Maybe not heart, but with some other organ. So what diet is recommended is any diet that is in fruits and vegetables is the best diet for all of you. So if you can include more fruits and vegetables in your diet, then you are following diet, which is a very good for the heart. And mind you, all fruits cannot be taken by the patients, so the diabetic diet will be completely different. I'll be mentioning only the diet that can be preferred by non-diabetic patients. So my recommendation for food is that you should take a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Thank you. Doctor, is there a way by which we can communicate with doctors without coming to the hospital?
During these pandemic times, everybody is afraid to come out of their houses. So some of them will be having a minor thing or a minor ailment, which they it's not worthy enough to go to a hospital and get it checked. So recent guidelines have changed, even in the Indian Medical Association, saying that telephone consultations are made legal, at least for these pandemic times. The telephone consultations are not legal. So telephone consultations have been made legal during COVID times. And our has gone with an initiative to start teleconsultations very recently. We have two apps for that, Ask Apollo and Apollo 24/7. You can just book an appointment with the doctor of your choice, and you can go ahead, say your doctor will hear to your complaints and decide whether you have to come to the hospital or not. And if you're not required, then he can directly give you some treatment over the phone, and so you can have that. When not coming to the hospital but still getting treated or seeing doctor.
Okay. Is there any correlation between COVID-19 and heart attack?
Okay. So COVID-19 is a very new, which has started in the late 2009. So as of now, there is any direct correlation to coronavirus and heart attack, but there is a there are certain manifestations even in coronavirus pandemic. So what are those manifestations? One of the most common manifestations is myocarditis. So what is myocarditis? Nothing but inflammation of the myocardium. Nothing but the muscle that is present within the heart, which I have mentioned previously. So this myocardium gets inflamed, due to which their heart comes down, and these patients are at higher risk of death. And one more thing that I would like to hear is those patients who are already and those who have a low low capacity, and if they are exposed to coronavirus, their prognosis will be poor. So I want to request all the heart patients to be very this particular pandemic and maintain that social distance from other people, because you are at very high risk, and the mortality rate for patients who have these comorbidities is almost very high.
Thank you, doctor. How is life after heart attack?
So many of us are of the belief that once you get a heart attack, life ends. That is not true. So coming back to the point that I have mentioned previously, which is the time is my. So this concept applies to this particular question very correctly, because you delay your um, consultation after having a chest pain of cardiac origin, then the chances for your pumping capacity to go down are very high. If your pumping capacity goes down, then you end up in a condition called heart failure, due to which the patient will have frequent episodes of short breath, cough, and their will be swollen, and they require frequent hospitalization. So for that particular reason, the patient should come very immediately to the hospital as soon as they are diagnosed with a cardiac chest pain. If they can come immediately to the hospital, then their pumping capacity will not decrease, and these patients can actually lead a very normal, provided that they take their medication continuously or fail. And those patients who already have a decrease in pumping capacity, we have very good drugs even to improve particular pumping function, but I can't say it can be improved in each and every patient. But surgeons are lucky enough to have their pumping capacity back to normal. So life is not horrible as you think after a heart attack.
Thank you, doctor. Doctor, I heard like people who heart attack surgery, open heart surgery, after that like their immunity power will be like very less. So how to boost it?
So one of the major defenses of the government and the other higher officials advocating to us is to improve our immunity. So any patient who has a disease, or for that matter any ailment, can be taken as a comorbidity. These patients who have comorbidities will actually have a high risk of mortality during COVID pandemic times. So what we can do is we can in vitamins such as the vitamin B complex and also vitamin. So vitamin D, 60,000 international units that can be taken at least once a week. There are certain drugs which can be taken only once. And vitamin C, I advise that you take at least one tablet, the chewable tablets, which can be available in every store, at least one tablet per day. Along with it, eat a lot of dry fruit, which is very much useful in these patients. These vitamins actually improve immunity and have a better chance of fighting against the COVID virus. Mind you, these are all postulations. These are only theses. We are not very sure it can improve the immunity, will have a better fighting COVID pandemic, but there's nothing your immunity gets improved with taking on, because these can be taken by any patient. So I all these for the patients to have.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you for watching us, doctor, for enlightening us regarding this heart attack. And if the viewers, if you are experiencing any symptoms or medical emergency, please free to call our emergency number 1066 and directly take our online consultation through Ask Apollo website, which is available in 24 into 7. Thank you.